Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Saloni from ZenOnco, IO and Love Hills Cancer. I'm from Community Outreach Team. So today we have Dr. Vishakha with us for 60 minutes live interactive session. So Dr. Vishakha is a junior resident at Bangalore Medical College and Research Institute. She believes that apart from adherence to treatment regimen prescribed, each of us has the innate power and potential to heal also. So she will today teach us the power of mind through the healing. And so let's welcome Dr. Vishakha with us. Over to you, Dr. Vishakha.
Okay, thank you so much for the introduction, Saloni. So I'm very grateful that I have a chance to, be a speaker at this amazing organization called Love Hills Cancer. I think it's a wonderful initiative. And moreover, I want to share my purpose as to why I'm doing this. We see patients every day in our practice. And due to the limited amount of time, most often the patients end up leaving, the OPD very empty. They feel like their diagnosis has been reached, the treatment has been discussed with them, but there is always some amount of vacancy that they end up feeling. And this is because in our profession, due to time constraints, we end up reducing patients to just a diagnosis. We don't have the time and the patience, more than patience, the time actually to sit and talk with every patient and discuss their personal struggles, and that's just the limitation that is there in this profession, because of which I think I wanted to conduct this live session via ZenOnco, so that I can reach out to you and share a little bit of my techniques and tips that I have seen that have helped people heal. Because healing is such a non-linear process. When we talk about healing, we think that it's something that we just decide in our mind and it should happen. But most often people don't feel that way, that they decide one thing in their mind and their emotions are very, very different from what their logical mind has decided. And it always feels like there's a tug of war between our mind and our emotions, right? And so how do we deal with this, space that's created? How do we deal with this and make sure that, our emotions and our thoughts are aligned? And that's the reason this can happen only through tools. This cannot happen just by deciding or writing a journal prompt in a diary. This has to happen through conscious tools and engaging in these conscious tools every single day. We talk about personal hygiene, brushing our teeth, taking a shower, but emotional hygiene is something that we haven't spoken about, because in our country, what emotional hygiene is, there is very less awareness, right? Emotional hygiene basically is just tending to our personal psychological needs, right? Creating the space where we accept, creating the space where we accept our emotions and sit with them. That itself is healing. But very less is spoken about emotional hygiene. So today, through my session, I want to talk about emotional hygiene and also give 3 tools that can, help, caregivers and survivors and basically anybody who's going through a very rough phase in their life, use these tools and, help themselves heal. Talking about cancer, I think I would recommend this book called When Breath Becomes Air. I really recommend a lot of you to read this book. So this book is about a neurosurgeon who was a great neurosurgeon at Stanford University. And one day he was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And so throughout the whole book, he talks about how he went from treating patients to being a patient himself. And when he actually sat in the patient's chair, did he actually understand the pain, the frustration, the angst, the anxiety that patients feel? Very often we as doctors are also disconnected from it because we are just seeing reports talking about treatment and moving forward. So this book gave gave me a lot of insight and opened my perception to what patients might be feeling when they hear that they have been diagnosed with cancer, and how hard it must be for all of them to deal with it. And more than dealing with it, I think accepting it is the first basic step that most of us struggle with. Now, talking about the tools, here is a small presentation that I want to share with all of you. So, understanding our emotions. What is emotional hygiene? Yeah, so most often when we are experiencing grief, there are two ways of handling or dealing with difficult emotions. One is that most people either numb themselves out completely, where they are very detached and disconnected from what they are feeling, or there is extreme grief, where there is self pity, self hate, self blame, insecurity. These are very harsh terms, but this is what comes into play when somebody is experiencing extreme grief. And either of them, like numbing out or extreme grief, are very harsh places to be in, because in these two states of mind, we aren't completely in touch with our emotions. And in case of extreme grief, we are more focused towards, you know, uh, the pain of it, that taking charge and control of our emotions gets tough. And in numbing out, we, like we don't feel our emotions at all. And that's very dangerous. I'll talk about why in the next slide. So, what I want to talk about today is how we can mindfully deal with difficult emotions. One is turn towards your emotions with acceptance. Every morning when you wake up, you shouldn't have to pressurize yourself to feel a certain way. I think the mind always wants to control, that today you have to feel better, today you have to get out of bed and do this. Our mind chases control and perfectionism. But what if we just wake up and sit down and accept what we are feeling that very day? That itself is very healing. Giving ourselves the space to accept our emotions is a big gift that we can give ourselves. Then, second, identify and label the emotion. I think this is very helpful for people, especially who have the habit of numbing themselves and are very disconnected from their emotions. Labeling their emotions can at least give them the awareness to understand what they are facing. Only when we have the awareness about what we are facing can we take charge and then change. But if we don't have the awareness itself, how can we guide ourselves towards change, right? So identifying and labeling the emotion is very, very important. So you can just either, in your mind, label the emotion, or take a piece of paper and, say that, today I'm feeling a little frustrated. Sometimes we don't have a particular label. We could feel all emotions, like we could feel sadness, anger, frustration, anything. You can just label all the emotions that you're feeling sequentially. Then third is accept your emotions. Now, once you have labeled the emotion, you have to sit with the emotion. And this is a very, very hard process. Sitting with your emotion is basically it's worse than facing your worst enemy head on, because whenever we have such emotions, we don't understand where they're all coming from. We are like, how am I feeling so overwhelmed today when yesterday I was doing okay, or day before I was fine? Why am I feeling so much today? It's okay. I think we all have this habit of over analyzing. Why don't we just quit the over analysis and just be like, okay, today I'm here, I'm feeling angry, I'm going to let the anger flow in. I want to observe my anger. When you make friends with your emotions, can you change them into the direction that you want to change them? Just simply thinking that आज मैं कल उठकर अच्छा फील करने वाला हूँ, or tomorrow I'm going to wake up and feel happy. That doesn't work, because you're completely shutting yourself off. You're completely not being kind to yourself. Then the fourth step is realizing the impermanence of emotions. You know, some days we feel very angry, some days we're just sad. You know, they're impermanent. They come, they teach us something about ourselves, and they go. You know, so understanding the impermanence of our emotions is very important. You know, so we don't, this is very helpful for people who suffer from extreme grief, because when we suffer from extreme grief, we have this habit of telling ourselves that this is permanent. You know, this, we can never feel happy, we can never feel better. But if you question yourself or think about it, there have been times you feel happy. Even when you're suffering through the worst phase of your life, there can be a small thing that can put a smile on your face. So that shows that, you know, there's no finality to these emotions. You know, these emotions aren't permanent. You know, they are impermanent, right? And fifth step is inquiring and investigating. You know, what triggered me and why do I feel this way? You know, there are so many triggers. You know, it could be just how unempathetic somebody is towards what we are feeling, or you know, how people dismiss our pain. Because whenever we feel pain in our life, although we logically know ki, you know, there are many people who are undergoing pain, there are many people who might be suffering, yet emotionally we feel very alone. Emotionally we feel like we're alone going through this pain. You know, so always inquire and investigate. You know, what triggered me today? Why have I been feeling this way? And let me tell you, the answers don't come out immediately. You know, you have to give yourself time and be patient enough with yourself to answer ki, why is this coming up? Most often we don't have the patience. You know, we are very kind to our friends, we are very kind to our parents or family members, but we aren't that kind to ourselves. Have we? If we just extend that much kindness to ourselves, we can actually deal with our emotions in a much healthier way. You know, and once you deal your emotions in a healthy way, you can channelize your emotions into the direction that you want to. So these 5 steps are very, very helpful. Like, they're a tool for emotional hygiene specifically. Uh, the next thing that I would like to talk about is anxiety. Now, we all have faced anxiety at some point in our lives, right? This feeling of our heart rate going up very fast, or you know, where our mind stops working. Suddenly, no thoughts only arise, or you know, some weird pittish feeling in our stomach, like this everything is doomed feeling. And the 5 4 3 2 1 grounding technique, that is the name of the technique that I that's really helped me personally, and I've seen it help a lot of people who I've shared this with. It helps you to ground yourself in the present reality. You know, anxiety comes from a place of fear of the future or pain of the past. That's where anxiety comes up from. And whenever you use this grounding technique, you're grounding yourself in the present moment, right here, right now, today. So, the first step in this anxiety grounding technique is acknowledge 5 things that you can see around you. You know, just find a very silent place and, you know, open your eyes and name 5 things that you can see around you. Maybe your pet, your television, your desk, you know, a pen you're holding, a notebook in front of you, any 5 things that you can see around you. The second step is to acknowledge 4 things that you can touch around you. So, you know, if you, the touch of your legs on the ground, if you're sitting on the ground, or the touch of your hand on the cushion, you know, or if you're holding a pen, touching your pen, or anything. 4 things that you can touch around you. This is the second most important step. Then the third step is acknowledging 3 things that you can hear. So it could be the sound of the traffic, the sound of somebody talking in your house, the sound of the pressure cooker even, but 3 things that you can hear. The fourth step is acknowledging 2 things that you can smell. And so, you know, any smell around you. And The fifth is one thing that you can taste. So that doesn't mean that you have to be eating something when you're doing this technique. It could even be the taste of your own saliva, that's it. This technique has shown to it's a very quick technique for healing anxiety for patients with generalized anxiety disorder or patients suffering extreme anxiety. The 54321 technique helps them to ground in the present moment. So why this technique? The logical reason why we're using this technique is that you are completely engaging all your senses. Most of the time when we are anxious, we are in the fight or flight mode, where there are two nervous types of nervous systems in our body, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. And when we're anxious, it's the sympathetic nervous system which is in overdrive, right? So the 54321 technique really helps you ground in the present moment by engaging all of your senses, because our senses are the most direct things that are in touch with our present reality, not our mind. Our mind can live in stories that happened 20 years back, or tales that our mind convinces us that might happen in the future. But what are the most important things that are in touch with our present? Those are our five senses. So the 54321 grounding technique is excellent in times of stressful situations. This is the second tool that I would like to share with all of you. Now, third is setting an intention. Whenever we are facing difficult emotions, we expect ourselves to feel better immediately. We say that we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and this sort of pressure adds on to the anxiety further. It's a vicious cycle. You know, let's say that today I get up, or anybody gets up, and today setting an intention starts channelizing our energy in a particular direction. And I always suggest that you should set an intention the first thing in the morning and the last thing before you go to sleep. So why these two times are preferred is because once you're awake, you're fresh. Your mind is relatively not that restless. Your mind still hasn't woken up fully yet. So this is the best time to set an intention. It can be a small intention, like, I want to help myself feel better than yesterday. It can be as small an intention as that. Or, today I want to go for a half an hour walk. By setting an intention, I don't mean a huge goal plan, a list, because most often putting pressure on ourselves is very, very suffocating. Like how I mentioned here, perfectionism and chasing perfection is poisonous to our mental well-being. Why? Because we're humans at the end of the day. We all make mistakes, we all make errors. So we have to give ourselves the room to make errors, and yet try to learn from our errors. Balance is the key. So always start small with an intention. Very, very tiny intentions also. And one more thing is, when you set an intention, it's always helpful if your family members are understanding, or are willing to help you in your mental health journey through this process. Share your intention with somebody near and dear to you. The reason why sharing an intention helps is because you'll always be accountable. When we often have this habit of slacking off. You wake up, you set an intention, half the day is done, and when you reach noon, you forget the intention, because our mind, again, like I said, our mind is like a monkey. It's going to bounce back up again, and again derail us into anxious thoughts or anxious spirals. So when you share your intention with a near and dear and loved one, they can actually remind you of your own intention in a very compassionate way. And this can help you, whenever you derail throughout the day, which is bound to happen, and it's very much okay. Somebody can, push you to get back on track again. So this is my feedback about setting an intention, and even journal the intention that you've set. Write it down on a small piece of paper, and at the end of 1 week, just go through all the intentions that you have set on each day of the week. This shows you how far you have come. Most often, we don't celebrate our successes, we don't celebrate our small wins. Our society has trained us to believe that success is in the form of numbers or a amazing report or a complete remission. But success is merely feeling better. In my opinion, success is just feeling much better than what you did the day before. That is success to me. We need to redefine the idea of success. We need to understand that social norms, social conditioning has placed such a huge pressure on us that it's taught us to be so unkind to ourselves. We are so unkind to ourselves. We are very kind to our neighbors, to our family members, to our children, but we're so unkind to ourselves. So always celebrate your success. It doesn't have to be a huge success in terms of societal terms, but it's still success for you because you've come a far and a long way than what you were 1 week before. And that is a reason to celebrate. So, find a way where you like celebrating, like get your favorite food to eat, or hug your family. I think hugging and touch is another thing that, in especially in the Indian society, very few people, we have not normalized embrace. I feel so, at least. We need to hug our loved ones more often. We need to sit with them and let ourselves be vulnerable in front of them. Most of the time, we put such a strong face in front of our loved ones where we feel that, we have to be stronger for them. No, I think it's completely okay to show our vulnerabilities and our pain in front of the people that we really love. Because whenever we are down, they are always such a huge support system for us. Another important thing that I want to address is that, let's say that you have a loved one that you feel doesn't understand you. Always communicate. Don't hold that grief or that resentment in your heart. If they matter to you, if they're dear to you, and if you love them and they love you, always communicate your feelings to your loved ones, and share what you're feeling with them, and also discuss how you would like to have healthier communications. Communication is not just about the words they say, it's about body language, it's about tone. So in case you don't like the tone of any of your family members, or you don't like the way that somebody micromanages you or speaks to you, always express your needs. It's okay to have needs. It's okay to have needs from the people who say that love us. And especially in such harsh times, we need people to understand our needs. That is so important. And understanding, basically making other people understand our needs, starts with us understanding our own needs. So many times, grief comes out of a place where we don't understand what we want, where we feel like, I don't know what I want, but I didn't like what that person did to me. Be clear about what you want from another person. And even if it is just kind words, even if it's just them being still when you are going through difficult emotions, that's okay. Not everybody has to be reactive to our emotions. That's another key vital point. Not everybody has to react to everything that we feel. Sometimes it's okay to be still and accept and see our emotions in a different light. We don't have to react to our emotions. We don't have to shun our own emotions, or go so deep into them that we can't come out. I think observing our emotions is a big start to our healing journey. The third tool that I would like to touch upon is the focus wheel technique. So this is a focus wheel, and I'll get into the details of this in a short time. But this is the layout of the focus wheel, and you can get this on Google. It's free. Just Google focus wheel and you'll get this template. You can even draw it out in your diary or any page. Why the focus wheel technique? So the focus wheel technique helps us to shift our emotions. Okay, as you see, there is the center of the wheel that we have, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 spokes at the side. So you might be wondering, what is this? What is this empty wheel in the center of the page? I'll explain this to you in great depth now. So the thing is, the first step of focus wheel technique is to set your intention that I touched upon in the previous slide. Always set an intention before you start the focus wheel technique. The center of the focus wheel, what you need to do is write down your intention. The intention could be, for example, so this is, like I mentioned, this is the focus wheel that we have to make. This is very important to shift our emotions. So why the focus wheel, and why isn't there any other tool that is as effective as the focus wheel, in my opinion? So as you can see, emotions can't be changed in a fraction of a second. You know, we all have come to terms with it. We all have accepted it that whatever we decide with our mind doesn't often happen, because our mind and emotions are not very, very much in tandem. So the focus wheel that you can see on the WhatsApp chat that Annie has shared with you is a 12-spoked focus wheel. So what you write in the center of the focus wheel, what you write in the center of the focus wheel is your intention. Like I said, you can always set an intention at the beginning of your day or the end of your day. Doing it both actually reinforces our neurons in our brain to mindfully pick up new streams of thought. You know, having thoughts that favor us is a conscious practice, right? So intention setting helps us do that. So writing your intention in the center of the focus wheel is the start. Now the next thing is, you know, let's say you wake up today with an intention that, hey, I want to feel good about my body, or I want to feel better about my body. But you're really not feeling good, right? And your intention is that you want to feel better. So you write your intention in the center of the focus wheel, which is I want to feel better about my body today. And then you start with the first spoke, right? You start with what you're feeling right now. And this has to be in, avoid using words like not, bad, down, any harsh words. Just like this focus wheel also trains us to be kinder to ourselves. So the first thing that you write in the focus wheel is, today I am feeling a little low. You know, always ease out whatever you're feeling, you know, tune down the intensity of it. Okay. And then the next step is, but there are times that I have felt better. So the purpose of this focus wheel is that with each spoke that you're going, by the end of all the spokes, you have to feel emotionally in tune with whatever intention you've set, right? So this is to guide ourselves through the different emotions till we emotionally feel that, okay, today I am going to feel better about myself. I am already feeling better about myself. So what you write in the focus wheel is what you can evidently see. Like, there are times that I haven't felt so good about my body. Now the third spoke, you can, this is an example that I'm giving, but there are times that I have actually liked my body for being there for me through all of this, right? So as you notice, with each spoke, you're going into a better feeling vibrational thought, right? Now by the fourth spoke, you can say that, you know, my body has seen it all and still stood like a pillar for me. You know, that is a slightly better feeling thought than, you know, my body has felt good at times, right? Then the sixth is, my body responds to me. My body is my temple, you know, so that's like your sixth spoke, where you're going one vibrational, emotional energy higher. Okay, then the seventh thought can be, it's it digests food, it assimilates the food, it helps me breathe, right? I am feeling a little better about my body because it has its own unique divine intelligence. Now, the next wheel, you can always feel a better feeling vibe, and that is where you make your conscious choice to feel one step better, which is why the focus wheel doesn't rush you to feel better in one go. It is taking yourself through the feelings, of feeling slightly bad to okay to good to better to awesome and then amazing. And once you feel amazing, you can immediately feel that you're in tune with your intention. So it's a very powerful tool. I suggest all of you see some practice focus wheels. You can see some videos by Abraham Hicks talking about the focus wheel process. And for me, the focus wheel process has personally changed my life because, it's very easy to sink into very intense emotions. The focus wheel helps our mind to channelize our emotions into a better feeling place so that our intention seems achievable, right? We don't want to feel like our intention is something that is very out of our reach. We want to feel like it's well within our reach. Our intention should feel like they're well within our reach. So the focus wheel helps you aid in that process. Annie, I would also like you to share the previous slides, just so that everybody can see. So this is what I was talking about, the paradox of emotions, where we have two techniques of dealing with difficult emotions. These are broadly what people use. It's either numbing out or extreme grief. Next slide, please. This is the 5 steps to emotional hygiene that we discussed. How to turn towards your emotions with acceptance, identifying and labeling the emotions, which is very important for people who have the habit of disconnect or numbing themselves out. The third step is accepting your emotions, which is don't deny the emotions, sit with the emotions and accept them as it is then and there. The fourth one is realizing the impermanence of your emotions, which is, understanding that there are days you're going to feel bad, days that you're going to feel good, and that's okay. That's the cycle of life, where we have different days and we need to meet ourselves on the basis that we are feeling that particular day. Then the fifth step is inquire and investigate. What is triggering me? Why do I feel this way? Where is the emotion coming from? So these are the 5 steps to emotional hygiene. The next slide, please. Then this is the second technique, the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique that I spoke about, which is acknowledge 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can touch, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. This is to engage your senses to stay grounded in the present. Then I think I spoke a lot about setting an intention. Always start small, have achievable goals, and don't chase perfection. And that's it. This is the focus wheel technique that I spoke about. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Vishakha, for that lovely presentation. And I totally believe in, as Saloni, Dr. Saloni also agree with me that, power of attraction. So everything comes to that. The focus wheel, so this is my office, home office. So I have a focus board over here. I can't get my computer there. But it's the same thing, like I come sit here and I want to be the employee of the month. I want to be this, I want to do that. So I make a goal, 1, 2, 3. And every time I'm looking here, I'm like, oh, I have to do that. Okay, come on. So my diversion comes back, and it really helps. Even in my fight with cancer, like I had weird thoughts. I'm a weird person. So मेरे बच्चे की शादी में नाचना है, I cannot band. मेरा बच्चा तब 7 साल का था, now he's 16. So just I need something to hang on to move forward. So I completely agree with all these techniques, and whichever helps. Some people might find the focus board helpful, some might find the wheel helpful, like whatever. You need to get your distracted mind focused, and I totally believe in the power of attraction. It works wonders, and it has always been doing so. Like not just my cancer journey, but even in my day-to-day life, if I focus on something, I want this, I might not get 100% of it, but I still get something. And so thank you for
that. It's a kind of visualization we can do. Like it helps us to make a vision about something. Like even when my mom was fighting cancer, so I had a vision that both will sit in my room and we'll have a picture together. So that was my focus, that I want that day to come. So this is like the feelings kept on changing. Now chemotherapies are done, we have to go home. So it is like a focus wheel in life, that yes, one day we'll have a picture together, and definitely it came. So this is like something we have to put our intention on something, and it will definitely get manifested. So it really works.
Like in my life, I've made 4 focus wheels and everything's come true, whatever I wanted.
Like Dr. Saloni says, like the greatest battles are fought in the mind.
Exactly.
Like our body is so unique, that the mind can control the whole universe. So
so true.
Everything is intention. So when you put intention to something that we really want to achieve this thing, so definitely all the universe gives us the power to do that thing. So this is like when we put an intention on, like you said, focus wheel or anything, so definitely universe will help us to get over that thing.
And that is a proven fact. Like any temple or mosque or church, it has got a dome on top of it. There's a scientific reason for that. That the power of the universe it comes down in that dome. So I don't know much. I'm not a doctor or a scientist, but I can relate to those unseen powers, and that really helps.
Yeah, I think what I'd like to share is that a lot of times science limits us. Wanting scientific proof for everything, chasing a proof for everything, it limits us in a certain way that we can't have faith, because our logical mind always is like, how is this possible? Where is the proof?
Exactly.
So only if we experience this, only if we try this, only if we do our own experiment with it, we should become the scientists of our own life. Exactly. And experiment with all these tools, and if it works for you, that's great. Like then it's worked. You don't need a better proof.
It really works, because everything is faith. When we start having faith over something, it definitely gets manifested. So yes, everything is like, whenever we have a good intention, we have faith, the supernatural powers are already present, but we need to recognize those powers so that only we can get the healing.
We need to be open to all of it.
Exactly.
Does anybody else want to share something?
Jayant with us also has supernatural powers. He is 6 times cancer survivor.
Really? Oh my god. I think Jayant should share something.
Yeah, Jayant, we have Untold Hero with us. Hey Jayant, can you hear us?
पर्दे के पीछे से बाहर आओ जैन.
Hero has came.
Hello Vishakha. Deepak here.
Hello.
Hello. जो सुपर नेचुरल पावर आप बोल रहे हैं, और मैं अनुभव कर चुका हूँ मेरी वाइफ के टाइम पर. इवन अभी रिसेंटली हमारा ब्रेस्ट केयर ग्रुप में एक को वही सेम चीज अनुभव हो रहा है इस टाइम. तो मंत्र हम लोग ने उनको दिया है, वो उनको जो भी पेन होता है वो मंत्र सुनते हैं, बोलते मेरा पेन टोटल किधर में जाता है मालूम नहीं पड़ता.
बिल्कुल.
Oh, even the homeopathy works in the same way. Homeopathy medicine, like you are doctors, like it's all
placebo effect.
Placebo effect, I've even read. Yes, sorry, go ahead.
Like हमें लाइफ में एक फोकस रहना चाहिए. वी ऑलरेडी हैव एक गोल कि हमें लाइफ में करना क्या है. अगर हमारे पास करने को कुछ है तो हमारे पास जीने के लिए बहुत कुछ है। तो लाइक मैं जब कीमो लेने, मेरा आर्च ऑफ थेरेपी हुआ, बोन मैरो ट्रांसप्लांट हुआ, तो मैं अपने फोन में सॉन्ग चला था। सुबह सुबह बोन मैरो ट्रांसप्लांट होता है तो सुबह सुबह लाइक आपका 2 घंटे आपको फ्री दिया जाता है कि नाउ यू आर फ्री फॉर लाइक ऑल दोज ग्लूकोज का बॉटल वगैरह एंड कीमो वगैरह। तो मैं उस वक्त डांस करता था क्योंकि मुझे पता था कि नेक्स्ट 22 आवर्स मुझे बेड पे ही रहना है, उसी पे ही सब कुछ करना है। तो अगर मैं अभी, मुझे 2 घंटा मिला है ना, 6 to 8, मतलब सुबह का 6 से 8 बजे का, सो मैं आई यूज टू स्टार्ट डांसिंग और मैं गाना गाता था। और मैं मतलब लाइक मैं ऐसा हो जाता था कि ओके जीने को 2 घंटा मिल गया है अभी, और नाउ मुझे ना बहुत ज्यादा एंजॉय करना है। और मेरा वीडियो बनाते थे नर्सेज एंड ऑल कि हम आने वाले और भी पेशेंट्स को बताएंगे कि दिस इज द लाइफ, कि टाइम कुछ भी हो, एंजॉय कैसे किया जा सकता है वो सीखना चाहिए। तो लाइक मुझे नहीं पता कल क्या होगा, कल कैसा होगा, लेकिन मेरा आज बहुत खूबसूरत है और मैं उसको बनाने की पूरी कोशिश करता हूँ।
That's so insightful, Jayan. And really, it's amazing how you've gone out and come out of it 6 times. That's amazing. Like, it's great.
Yeah, this shows real life that he has a purpose. God has given him life back to live for a purpose. So this is like something which I really learned from him and from so many other people, that yes, if this is real life, that when you face the problems and then you come out of that, then that is the best version of you, and that is the real life.
बट एक्चुअली हम लोग है ना, यहाँ इतने लोग जुड़े हैं, कैंसर को लेके अवेयरनेस की बातें कर रहे हैं। मुझे एक चीज लगती है कि अपने लिए हर कोई जीता है, बट यहाँ हम जितने भी हैं, हम दूसरों के लिए जीना चाहते हैं, एक अवेयरनेस पैदा करना चाहते हैं कि कैंसर इज नथिंग, इट्स जस्ट अ वर्ड। तो वो सबसे बड़ी बात है। ओवरकम फ्रॉम एनी डिजीज इज नॉट लाइक ओके ठीक है सभी सही हो जाते हैं या चीजें कर लेते हैं, बट आफ्टर दैट आप क्या कर रहे हो अपनी लाइफ में, उस बीमारी को लेके आप क्या अवेयरनेस ला रहे हो, आप क्या बातें कर रहे हो। क्योंकि बहुत से लोग छुपाते हैं कि ओके मुझे ये हुआ था, बट यहाँ हम सब खुल के बात करते हैं। लाइक मेहुल भैया, वो हमेशा मैं उनके पोस्ट देखता हूँ, वो खुल के बात करते हैं कि व्हाट इज कैंसर, अबाउट द कैंसर, एंड इवन वो भी अपना आगे एक एनजीओ रन करते हैं। तो नाउ लाइक सलोनी वो भी एनजीओ रन करती हैं, दीपक जी वो भी लाइक पूछते रहते हैं कि कैसे क्या कर सकते हैं और आगे क्या बता। तो लाइक हम लोग सब एक कनेक्ट होते जा रहे हैं बिकॉज ऑफ कैंसर। तो ये बहुत बड़ी बात है कि कैंसर एक छोटी बीमारी है और उसको लेके हम लोग इतने सारे वॉरियर्स कनेक्ट हो रहे हैं कि ओके लेट्स वॉक टुगेदर, लेट्स फाइट टुगेदर।
करेक्ट।
क्योंकि जब लाइफ में खुद फेस किया हो तो वो कंपैशन डेफिनेटली उसके बाद आता ही आता है, दैट इफ आई कैन फाइट दिस थिंग सो अदर पीपल शुड नो दैट हाउ टू फाइट दिस। बिकॉज क्योंकि लोगों ने इस चीज को इतना, जब डर जाते हैं डायग्नोसिस के बाद, अगर कोई एक्सपीरियंस से हम जा चुके हैं, सो इट इज लाइक अ फीलिंग कि वी शुड टेल अदर्स कि इफ वी कैन फाइट दिस विद सो मच पावर, तो यू आल्सो हैव दैट सेम पावर टू फाइट. So definitely compassion comes, and this is the best thing that we are able to help others.
And we need to be compassionate towards ourselves also. That is something I want to talk about. There's so many times where like, आज ये नहीं हो पाया, वो नहीं हो पाया, you know, I couldn't do this. I think we should give ourselves the space to be. That's all.
Exactly.
Actually, मैं तो बोलता हूँ कि you should be thankful. I am so grateful to my cancer. मतलब लोग गालियाँ देते कैंसर हो गई,
same.
मैं तो बोलता हूँ कि because of cancer I'm here. I've got good friends like Jay and Saloni and Deepak bhai and all. So cancer मतलब ऊपर वाला अगर कुछ देता है ना तो ये सोच के देता है कि ये झेल सकता है। तो इसमें
even I say to my mom that I'm so happy that you got this thing. Not that you are in pain, but the situation that God gave me to learn so much from that situation. That is what I'm grateful for.
Cancer so made me famous.
Yeah, exactly.
Well said. Same goes to Meki. Like cancer made me famous. Like lots of people are approached me for like कैसे कर सकते हैं सर आपको देखते। Even मैं at the age of 24 they call me, people used to call me sir, like those words कि you are a warrior, and like बहुत अच्छा लगता है। और मैं कहता हूँ कि कैंसर ने मुझे नाम दिया है, कैंसर ने मुझे ऐसी बहुत सी चीजें दी हैं जो शायद मैं एट द एज ऑफ 24 जो मिला ना, अगर मैं नॉर्मल बंदा होता या नॉर्मल पर्सन की तरह जीता तो मैं अपने 50 साल की उम्र में भी वो नहीं बना पाता। इतने आर्टिकल्स मुझ पे नहीं छपते, इतने आर्टिकल्स मुझ पे नहीं आते। मैं एक डॉक्टर होता, इंजीनियर होता, 9 to 5 का जॉब कर रहा होता या अपने पापा का बिजनेस देख रहा होता, बट मुझे कोई नहीं जानता, मैं इस तरीके से किसी से बात नहीं कर रहा होता।
और कैंसर की और एक अच्छी बात, सबसे अच्छी बात क्या है कि जो झूठे दोस्त है वो चले गए और अच्छे दोस्त है वो आ गए।
एग्जैक्टली।
तो जो बिगड़ काम के दोस्त है वो सब जैसे समझा कैंसर हो गया, I have never caught them back in my life. I've closed doors, but you come to know who are the real people who help you, and then you stay with them all your life. Yeah, that is one very much greatest advantage of cancer.
Exactly. So anyone else wants to ask or share something? It's already 7. So I think thank you so much, Dr. Vishakha, for this lovely session. We learned so much from you, and definitely I personally feel that I will focus on that focus please now, and I'll make it in my room, and everyone else will definitely follow.
Yeah,
so
thank you so much for giving me the chance.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you all of you. Bye. It was very nice meeting you.